Welcome back, everybody. People are tired of the 9 to 5. People don't want to work traditional jobs because traditional jobs don't do what they used to do. Let's have a look.
Is anyone else experiencing this kind of disconnect and just general disinterest in the job search? I just feel like I don't care anymore. And it's so bad, because I graduated in 2023. So I did work a little bit in my field. I did have a job in accounting.
I'm getting old. Graduated in 2023. I'm getting old.
For a little bit. But right now I'm still waiting tables. My parents are just really getting on me because they're like, Olivia, you need to act like you're unemployed. Like, you're getting comfortable with your job. And it's like, no, I'm not getting comfortable. In fact, I want to get out of serving. It's great for what it is, but it's ultimately not what I want to do. And I do want to get out, but this other life, this 9 to 5 life doesn't seem very attractive to me anymore.
Serving, listen, if you're a pretty girl, being a waitress, being a server is not a bad, it's not a bad choice. It's a pretty decent choice. Are you going to be getting paid $225 an hour? Yeah, but you can still walk out with $200-300 a day, right? And that's great pay compared to what, using your degree and going and get a $35,000-40,000 a year job that's not going to pay the bills. I mean, at least you get to move around, you get to be active, you get a free meal. That's always a good thing. That's a plus. That's like saving $30 a day right there.
And I just feel really disillusioned with the whole corporate life because, for all the shit that you guys go through, at the very least, you could have job security, but you don't. I'm really realizing that there's no such thing as job security. People used to tell me, oh, get a government job. Y'all see what's happening with the federal jobs? Their whole department's being laid off. Out of nowhere, no notice, no nothing. You would think that with everything that y'all go through and how much time and energy you pour into these jobs that they would treat you better, and they don't. I have to move back in with my parents.
It's good to see that young people are starting to realize this, because it can't be old people like me that are constantly pointing this out, because no one cares about old people like me. I'm not the future, right? My future is the past now. It's these people in their early 20s, late teens. Listen, the future is theirs. And if they're realizing that they don't want to do this, listen, the corporate jobs are about finished. They're all going to get taken over by AI. I read an article the other day that said 47% of the new generation that's coming up actually see trades as being more attractive than jobs that require a college degree. And that makes complete sense because they grew up in a time where they're seeing nothing but layoffs, they've seen nothing but layoffs, job instability, and people who are working in office buildings all the time, not making any money, while at the same time, the trades have been absolutely cleaning up. So yeah, of course, and maybe this is a great thing because there's too many office jobs. Number one, it breeds crazy people. Right? Corporate America will drive you insane. It'll make you a strange person because you don't get to interact with normal people. You spend all your waking hours around people who are stressed out, cooped up in a small space, breathing the same recirculated air, never seeing any sunlight at all. But you juxtapose that with trade where people are making $20, $30, $40 an hour starting off. You got job protection that usually comes from the unions. You're outside, you're being healthy, you're getting physical exercise, you're in the sun, the whole culture around it is a lot more fun in general. You can let them fly a little bit more. You can say some stuff, it's a good time. Listen, blue collar work, trade work, it's a good time. It's a lot of fun. What would I prefer? Blue collar jobs over white collar after working both? Blue collar, for sure. It's a lot more fun. Like I said, you're in great shape all the time. Does it break down your body? Yeah, but at some point you get enough knowledge that you can start your own business and you can just make other people work for you. Trades are the way to go. The world is oversaturated with people with college degrees. I remember living in the Philippines. It's you needed a college degree just to work at 7-Eleven. Is that the world we want here in America? No, nobody wants that. It's bad enough that I got to deal with the entitlement that comes from service workers who are overeducated here in America. And the last thing I need is somebody with a PhD flipping burgers.
It's just something I'm thinking about because I know they're going to be on my ass about the job search and things like that. And it's not even that I'm lazy. It's just that I don't want to fight for something I don't actually want. It just doesn't seem worth it. Not only do we not have the same level of job security that our parents and our grandparents had, but we also can't afford anything. Even if we do have these jobs, even if we do have this job security, a lot of people can't even afford to pay their rent. At least back then, you guys could pay your rent. You know, you could pay your rent, you can buy your car, you could buy houses, you could afford to eat, you could afford to have fun. We don't have that same reality. The way prices have gone up in comparison to the way wages and salaries have stayed stagnant is insane, and nobody's talking about it. We don't have the same reality.
First, you have to go back to the job security thing, because the layoffs, yeah, you know, it's in general, you know, like nobody keeps their job anymore. There is no job security. You're going to go from one role to another, at least with the trades, at least with like blue collar work. You know, there is kind of a feeling of permanence. Like, this is who I am. I'm an electrician. I'm a plumber. You know, I'm an HVAC repair guy. In the corporate world, you're like, whoa, I'm sales. Now I'm HR. And, you know, there's an infinite amount of descriptors and job titles that mean absolutely nothing, and your job's redundant, and it can be taken over by AI, and it is being taken over by AI. If I was 18 or 19-year-old me looking at the job market right now, I would have left college so quick. Thankfully, I didn't take college seriously when I was young anyway, and I just went into the military. Much better decision. But there's no way I'd go to college now, especially knowing that it's going to rack up a couple $100,000 in student loans.
That our parents and grandparents did. And they don't want to acknowledge that. What we're fighting for is not the same thing that you guys were experiencing. So it's like, I'm fighting so hard to get some 9 to 5 that's going to pay me barely enough to rent a room in a house and live in fear every day of being laid off on a random Tuesday. And then in the midst of that, I don't even know if I can put food on the table, or if I can put food on the table, I don't know if I can put gas in my car. And if I can put gas in my car, I don't know if I can have fun, because I need to put food on the table and gas in my car. Our money is not going as far as it used to go. And I feel like we're getting gaslit about that. Like, home prices, tuition prices, like the way everything has gone up and they're paying us the same amount of money is insane.
I think we've all been gaslit to think that this is the way it goes, right? The traditional job, the traditional 9 to 5, the traditional pathway that was highlighted to us, that was told that, hey, this is going to give you success, right? You're going to go to school, you're going to graduate, have a high school degree. Then you're going to go to college. Then you're going to get a nice entry-level job and work your way up and eventually be a manager. Buy a house, start a family, you know, grow old, retire. Like, this is just not reality. This is not reality. People are like, well, you can still do it. No, it's not reality. And young people are seeing that, thankfully, because this whole system, like the job culture, the work culture in America, like, you know, that wheel moving forward needs to be broken and thrown into the ditch, because it doesn't serve anybody anymore. Like I say, it doesn't even pay. It puts you in a bad situation where you just, a really unhealthy environment. Yeah, you're sitting down. Yeah, physically it's not that exhausting. You're saving yourself. But at the same time, you're working so many hours that you can't even go to the gym. You can't even work out. You can't live any kind of healthy lifestyle. You know, the vast majority of people who work in offices are usually the most unhealthy people in America. And my back hurts worse after sitting for 10 or 11 hours than it ever did after working 10 or 11 hours in the trades. Because like I said, at least you get used to the physical exercise. Like I said, it wears your body down at some point. Yeah, you know, it does. But like I said, you can build your own business. In corporate world today, like, good luck getting promoted. Good luck even having a future. That's not how it works anymore. And that's even if you can get a job, because trying to get a job right now with so many people that have been laid off, how long are you going to have to wait? If you're living with parents and they're expecting you to get a job in a few weeks, that's going to be a new career, because they're from a time where that's possible. And you know, because you know, you're aware of the current situation, that it might take up to a year, if not longer, for you to get that job that you're qualified for. It's got to take the wind out of your sails a bit. It's just got to make you want to, you know, throw your hands up and give up. Listen, I'll never argue that the traditional 9 to 5 is the way to go. I think it's super predatory. I think it's abusive. I think as far as the core, and I'm talking mostly about the corporate world. Listen, work's not easy, and it's not meant to be easy. Some jobs are easy and people get lucky. But for the vast majority of people, guess what? You're not going to be happy doing your work. You're not going to be happy doing your job. You just want to get off. But at least when you get off, let you have enough time to actually live a life. Let you actually have be paid enough that you have enough money at the end of the day, after you pay your bills, after you pay your insurance, after you pay, your rent, your mortgage, all the stuff that you have to pay for every month. Let you at least have enough money that you can go out and do something. Because if for most people in America right now, it feels like at the end of the day, they've been working for nothing because they have nothing to show at the end of the day. For majority of Americans now, majority. Right? That's not me gaslighting you. That's truth. Majority of Americans have nothing to show at the end of a workday, except for stress and anxiety and their health declining and deteriorating. And that's what it is to work in corporate America now. That's what it is to work a traditional 9 to 5 now. Like I said, just bail and get away from it. Just because you're in your 30s, just because you're in your 40s, doesn't mean you can't learn a trade. It doesn't mean you can't, switch your jobs. If you're just, especially with all the layoffs that are happening now, if you're getting pushed to what used to be for you an entry-level job at entry-level pay, just because the competition out there is so fierce and the market's so saturated with applicants that you have no negotiating leverage, just think about maybe becoming an apprentice. Think about going to trade school. Just apply. They just need people out there. You don't need to know much to work in construction to start off with. If you're a smart person, I don't know, maybe a heavy machinery operator. I used to do that. That's a great job. It's hell on your back, but it's a great job and it's great pay. There are options out there, but kind of that traditional, I'm going to have my briefcase and go to work. And I don't think that it helps that over the past decade on Instagram, we've seen influencers, corporate influencers, show how amazing working at Google is, how amazing working at Apple is. Smoothies and playrooms and nap pods, because that's not reality. Like, I work in the financial tech industry and I can tell you right now, like, there is some of that stuff there for sure. Sometimes I'm like, am I a child? What is this? Because I have that mentality of old school, like I go and grind and want to leave. I go and grind with my briefcase. I dress nicer than everyone. I'll wear a suit. No need for me to do that. People wear pajamas someday. It's ridiculous. But it is what it is. Nobody wants to work this shit anymore. These jobs suck. But we got to do them. We got to get paid. Everybody, I hope you have a great one. If you're still here at this point, like and subscribe. Think about becoming a member. Give us some money. And, we're happy the channel is doing well. We're happy you're doing well. And we're coming to the weekend here. And I hope you guys have some great plans. If you're going to the protest on Saturday, hey, be safe. There's thousands of them happening. If you're going to the military parade, hey, be safe, because tanks have a lot of blind spots and you should be aware of that. But it's going to be crazy this weekend, and I hope everyone's jobs are just kind of doing good. I hope if everyone's kind of at peace in their lives with what they're doing. I hope you're making good money. And if you're not making good money now, I hope you're making good money in the future. And I hope the job market gets better. And just stay in there, hang in there, and work towards your goals. Because, our lives are what we make them, really. And if you're in a bad situation, you can always improve your station. You can always leave and move. Maybe go to another country for a while. Take a couple years off. Dip into that 401k. I don't know. Take some equity out of your home. Just live your life a bit. And find a job that you're passionate about. Maybe start your own business. But yeah, this 9 to 5 thing, the traditional, it's dead. But thanks for stopping by, guys.